What's going on, guys? I'm Relentless Coach Jake. Now, my goal is to have pro wrestlers train like athletes, complete structured strength and conditioning programs so we can be feeling better, moving better, recovering better, and staying in the ring, in the game as long as we can. Because look, we are beat up. Wrestling is physically demanding. We are constantly filled with tension. We are hurt all the time. So we want to help improve our performance, reduce our risk of injury, and get us in the ring, staying in the ring as long as we can so we can get the most out of this amazing thing that is pro wrestling. Now, what I'm going to go over today is just some quick recovery methods that we use with our athletes, whether they're training here at Relentless School of Pro Wrestling or they're working with me directly online doing strength and conditioning. Now, these things I wish I knew when I started. It would have made my career a lot longer. I would have felt a lot better and my body wouldn't be as beat up as it is right now. And implementing these things, I've noticed a drastic change with how I feel, but also how all of my athletes, people that have been wrestling for longer than me, how they're feeling, and also the new ones there that haven't been wrestling as long, maybe a year, 2 years, if that, and they're just recovering a lot better than how we did in the past. So things that we've done are SMR, so self-myofascial release, mobility, static stretching. These things are huge. Incorporating that into your programming, something you can do daily, especially SMR, like the self-massage, using a foam roller, lacrosse ball, the massage guns, all that sort of stuff. Doing that has a huge impact in how we feel, okay? Getting us recovering so we can perform at a higher level and also reduce the risk of injury. Other ones I'm going to throw at you. Hydration is huge. So if you can drink between 2 to 4 liters, it depends on your body weight, how much you actually need, but 2 to 4 liters is usually a good starting point. Having salt, so electrolytes, is huge because you can drink a lot of water and still be dehydrated. When you're dehydrated, everything becomes really restricted. So our inside our body, we have connective tissue that holds everything together all around our muscles, joints, and everything. It's called fascia, and fascia is aqueous, so it's made up mostly of water. And when we are dehydrated, that restricts, and so that way, you notice when you wake up in the morning, you get out of bed, and you're like, oh man, I'm just so sore on my back, like everything's just stiff, and it gets a little bit get going. It's because overnight, like we lose water, through our breath, we essentially wake up dehydrated. So the quicker we can hydrate first thing in the morning is the best thing you can do. One thing that I do is I have a big glass of water first thing in the morning, but I add a squeeze of lemon juice and a good pinch of Himalayan salt. The salt, the electrolytes, is going to help rehydrate you, okay? That's what I do first thing in the morning. It gets my body hydrating. So that's another thing, hydration. That is huge. I could spend all day talking about nutrition, supplementation, but the biggest bang for your buck that I'll give you right now is protein, okay? Having adequate amounts of protein because we are beating up our muscles, beating up our body in the ring, and protein is the building blocks for recovery. So we want protein, getting enough protein in our diet, okay? And that can be done through supplementation if you can't get that amount of protein in through food. Creatine as well, that has been shown and proven over and over again to help with aerobic capacity and also anaerobic capacity as well. So improving strength and power and an increase in muscle size. Creatine and protein are probably the two best supplements that you can take, 100%. Why we're on supplements, magnesium, fish oil, vitamin D, some sort of B vitamin complex. It's a good idea to get some blood work done. That way you can really know what you're deficient in and what you can build on. But they're usually the key ones that most people will take. So we've covered SMR, mobility, static stretching, hydration, a little bit of nutrition supplementation that I could really spend like hours talking on. So we can add things like active recovery. So getting out for a walk, doing some like light sled work is a good thing to get your body recovering better. The last thing that I'll give you is one that made the most difference in my body, okay? Pro wrestling, taking bumps, training in the gym, doing the structured strength and conditioning that we should, our bodies will be beat up and full of inflammation. And probably the number one thing that I've used and noticed in my body to decrease that inflammation and have me feeling just incredible. Like I feel better now being 34 than I did when I was like 19, 20. And that would be contrast baths, Okay, so using like hot and cold water therapy. So really just the cold water. If you could pick one, it would just be the cold water that made the biggest difference. But I usually do a mix of hot and cold. So I might jump in a hot shower for like 5 minutes and then jump in the ice bath for 1 to 3 minutes. The ice baths, the cold water immersion, getting your body fully covered in cold water. Cold showers don't really have the same effect. They are mentally tough for sure, but you want your body to be fully covered in water. So fill up your bathtub, chuck some ice in there, or even just the cold water if that's all you have. But doing that for 1 to 3 minutes, I've been doing that every day for months and months and months now to really get a good gauge on if it's actually working. Because there's a lot of placebo things like that, and I've also implemented this with a lot of my pro wrestling online students, clients that have been doing strength and conditioning programs, and they've just been feeling incredible. And that has probably been the number one thing that I've noticed in my body in terms of decreasing inflammation is ice baths. With the ice baths, you don't want to do it straight after you train. So if you do like a heavy strength training session, you don't want to jump straight into the ice baths. You try and keep it separate. There are plenty of ice baths you can buy online. They're really cheap. Some you can get from like under $100. Otherwise, if you have a bath, fill up your bath, chuck some cold water in there, then you're good to go. With most of my athletes, I implement this about 1 to 2 times per week. I was doing it every day, felt absolutely amazing, but you can get the great results from just doing it once, twice a week. So say if you have a full week of training, then you perform on a show on the weekend, then you have like, say your Sunday, you might have to recover. So that's when I'd really jump in the ice bath, get your body decreasing as much inflammation, getting all that inflammation down to get you feeling better. Because look, we've got to look at this as a long-term approach. We want you feeling better, moving better, so you can perform better in the ring and be in the ring as long as you can. If you have any questions, please reach out. If you want to know how to implement this stuff and what you should really do, again, it depends on sort of where you're at, what you're doing, how's your body's feeling, how long you've been training, everything like that. There's a lot that goes into it, but please reach out. Let me know if you have any questions and get after it.